Immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on Core TV News.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo will by now be wondering at the level of attention being generated by his controversial book, My Watch, presently undergone by a court order. The latest in the gang of critiques of Obasanjo's book is political activist Yinka Odumakin, whose book, Watch the Watcher, chronicled the Obasanjo's years as military and civilian leader. This much may have been said by the reviewer of the book, Godini Dara, who, without mincing words, described Obasanjo as a pot, calling the kettle black.
He is motivated to write a book to challenge exaggerated claims of heroic grandeur and accomplishments made by the former president. He hoped that the book will add to the collective memory scars of Nigerians so that they do not suffer the disease of amnesia, which encourages unworthy public men and women to act with impunity.
The occasion offers the perfect opportunity for sympathizers of President Goodluck Jonathan to take a shot at his critics, especially members of the opposition. Chairman of the occasion, Olusegun Oshoba, branded Obasanjo a liar and added that Watch the Watcher was intended to correct all the anomalies and misinformation in My Watch.
It's an event to put the record straight. Many aspects of the book written by President Obasanjo needs serious correction. Like I said, he was at the center of all the negotiations to broker a political agreement between Alliance for Democracy and PDP in 2003. And for him to say that he did nothing about it, I totally disagree with.
For his part, Minister of Police Affairs Jelili Adesina did not disappoint his principal when he took Obasanjo to the cleaners before journalists.
The type of the leader called Obasanjo is a man that speaks between two cheeks. Anything he does in this country, he believes is the best. He's the only saint we have in this country to himself, when Jesus himself never called himself a saint. But Obasanjo will always open his mouth and say all sorts of things. And like I said, there are so many people that are more clever than him, and those are the people whose turn they want to use him now to capture power. But I know the masses of this country will not allow such things.
But he appears not done, as he fired a warning to politicians and others he accused of trying to foment trouble ahead the 2015 general elections.
And I'm warning anybody who make any inflammatory statements, who say anything that is mutinous, will be arrested and prosecuted. They should stop the drum of war.
For those wondering at the aptness of the title of the book, the author, Yinka Odumakin, says fate may have worked in his favor, especially at a time when the ripples generated by Obasanjo's book are yet to die.
Among many of our past leaders who have had the opportunity to do the right things for this country, but only remember about such right things only when they leave office. So when I got notice that Obasanjo was on this familiar stuff again, then I just had to quickly pour those ideas on paper so that we can nudge, like I said, our country back into consciousness to know that, look, we should stop calling a thief a chief, you know. So it's to rev us back to life, to know that, look, we should begin to hold people accountable for their actions while they're in office.
The author urged Nigerians to remember at all times that the country belongs to all and nothing should be done to pull it down in words and in deed.
Now, many have said that the former president has a way of always putting himself back into the public glare and public discourse. And of course, he did that on December 9 when he came up with the book, My Watch. It's about a 3-volume autobiography on his life and, of course, his time as president of Nigeria. We're joined now by the man in the eye of, I don't want to say the eye of the storm, but the stakeholder himself, who also came out almost immediately to counter most of the claims about the former president in his book, in a new book that he has called Watch the Watcher. Yinka Odumakin, good morning and thank you for joining us today.
Morning.
On Call Digest, compliments of the season to you.
Same to you.
The first thing that came to my mind is that if Obasanjo's book was released on December 9, how come you were able to put together a 256-page book in a number of weeks? How did you come about that miracle?
Two things I've written all my life.
Okay.
I've done another major thing than just writing all my life as a journalist, as a public intellectual. Secondly, the ideas in this book are ideas I've carried on my head over the years because this subject has been very, very fascinating to me. That's President Obasanjo, former president. I recall that in 2005 when he was president of Nigeria, I did an article on him. And I said in that article that time that if you read that article in The Guardian, I think around May, sometimes in May 2005, I did say that I thought that I would write about Obasanjo when he finishes his assignment. But he forced me to write that article then. When he went on this thing to say that his stubbornness is the normal woo streak, and how to do that time, the woo in Obasanjo. So that was a snippet. And a few months after, I think he got me detained for 6 nights in Panti, which all these things I put in the book. But so is also when the notice came out that it was coming again with my watch. You know, we've had my command, not my will. Everything about just my. And of course, Nigeria also has a private estate. And so, you know, in 1991, when he came out with Not My Will, a bin autopsy did immediately after, not his will. So, the ideas that I've carried about him, I put them on paper. And I think that the title should be, okay, this man says he's a watcher, then I need to watch him. Because he's like a man who bends down looking at the backside of another person. Other people are looking at his own.
Did you actually read the 3 volumes of My Watch?
Well, it's, I read his book, but as usual, it was a boring read because it's usually a pack of tissue of lies. I mean, and what hit me most in his book was how he lied about an event in which I was privy to. In 2003, there was this discussion between Afenifere, Alliance of Democracy, and PDP of Obasanjo. And Obasanjo was in the center of all these things. I attended all the meetings, but I was secretary of Afenifere then. The first meeting took place in his house in Ota. The second meeting took place in the Presidential Lodge in Ogun State. The third meeting took place in his house in Abeokuta. And I knew all that transpired in those meetings. For Obasanjo to come in his book, I was not aware of such that it was his vice president who was not involved in all these things. I mean, it shows that this is a kind of man that we should not allow. And I think it's also good that God has allowed him to live this long, so I can be exposed in his lifetime, and that will not the legacy of lies. Because, like Shinka said, he has built a career in lying to this nation. You must begin to debunk them. And more importantly, you see, I said in introduction to this book that, you know, the English taught us a very vital lesson. They had this daredevil who was terrorizing everybody, robbing here and there. So, and when he died, on his tombstone, they engraved, "Here lies a burglar." This very stone was bought with the money found on him. So, the essence of that is that men should not be allowed to rewrite history. You know, and I said in this book that, look, if you are allowed to write their own epitaphs, a notorious armed robber like Lawrence Anini could have written that, oh, here lies Lawrence Anini, a great industrialist who contributed to the rebasing of the Nigerian economy. That is what Obasanjo is doing. I must not allow that to happen.
That's all right. We'll get to the details of all of that, but let me just quickly intimate our viewership that you can participate on this discussion on our Twitter handle at Core Digest Live, where you can drop your comments and your questions for Mr. Yinka Odumakin in the course of this discussion. I believe the phone lines will also be open at the time. Keep your observation and your comments very short and precise, and let's be as objective as possible. Now, let us begin to juxtapose all of these issues along traditional lines, because one of the comments I've heard recently is that in this part of the world, you don't call an elder statesman a liar. Do you see him in that office? What are your reactions to all of that?
Well, Khalil Gibran, in the Guardian of the Prophets, said that pity the nation whose statesman is a fox. When you, for any nation that celebrates a fox as a statesman, that nation is in crisis. So this is not about leadership, about anything. It's about public affairs. It's about a national life. I said elsewhere this morning that if Obasanjo were a businessman, a private citizen, who never had anything to do with our public life, what's we have business with him? But the moment out of 54 years in existence as an independent country, Obasanjo has ruled this country for 11 years. He's the longest serving. And so, and it's not about Obasanjo alone. Even those who are in government now, it's for them to also know, I put in the instruction here, to know that they will not be allowed to rewrite history. And that one day they will also leave, and we have to put the authentic history side by side with what their hagiographers will begin to write. It's about time we stop allowing people to feed for the laundromats of those who have messed up things for us and want to launder themselves and begin to write all kind of stuff. So it's an intervention, a public duty, and everything that has been put here is, and it's not only me speaking. We have so many other Nigerians. The views of other Nigerians have been collated in here about their views on this subject, including from Mama Young wife, Mama Yabo, from Benga Obasanjo, from Yabo Obasanjo, to Ganifa Oimi, to Chinua Achebe, to Niyo Shindari, prominent Nigerians. How do they see our watcher?
Well, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was president of this country democratically for about 8 years. Yes. Many would have thought that if he says anything, if he writes anything, that he probably should know what he's talking about. Are you saying categorically on this platform that everything in my watch was a lie?
90% of it are lies, outright lies, attempt to rewrite history, and falsification of events. I mean, you've read Professor Olusegun's reaction to it. You have had Chief Oshoba clearly coming out to say that, look, this man actually lied. And so is an attempt to rewrite history, and we must not allow that to happen. We must begin to say that, look, we are not a nation of idiots. That somebody can just have all the opportunities to put things like for this country, mess them up, and now begin to come back and begin to rewrite history in our very eyes. So this is not only about Obasanjo, like I said. It's using him as a point of contact to all those who are presiding over the affairs of our country, from the highest to the lowest, that they will not escape the verdict of the authentic history from the eyes of the people, and not what they will ask people to write to launder their image.
But where does this book now pitches you in the political side of things ahead 2015? Because the last time you were here, I could remember that I was asking you, I was saying that probably you're tilting towards the PDP side these days. Because the bottom line is that Obasanjo's position on the president in this particular book was widely criticized. There were even attempts to delay the publication and the launch of this particular book, My Watch, till after the 2015 election. Do you see yourself as a result of your position from this book tilting alongside the presidency and the People's Democratic Party this time?
That's a conjecture has collapsed ab initio. When you bring PDP into this, it's about not PDP. Was not president of PDP for 8 years.
He has obviously not been true to his party in recent times.
Well, yeah, but he has not announced that he's not in PDP.
A statement by the APC recently talked about him being sympathetic to the APC.
So yes, they went to him and said he should be their navigator. And which part of our own tragedy? For those who criticize Obasanjo for 80 years of his presidency, to out of desperation now, to now say that he's their navigator. A man that clearly belongs to our decadent past. So clearly, let's not miss. Read this book. This is not about any PDP, about anything. It's about the stewardship of Obasanjo. Right, his 11 years in office, what he did, and bring it back to their collective memory, to know that look, this is not the man that should stand up and be pontificating on the affairs of this country. In fact, he should be answering charges for the many misdeeds he carried out as president of this country.
Let's take this call from Ogun State. Good morning, Shitu. Hello, Shitu, are you there?
Buy me credit 200. I want to speak with Mr. Odumakin.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Odumakin.
Good morning, Mr. Shitu.
Good morning, Mr. Odumakin.
Well, with you, go ahead with the contribution.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Odumakin.
Go ahead, Shitu.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Shitu, right? But so I read your book, your comment from some newspaper. But hello.
Go ahead, please. Can somebody tell him from there to just go ahead with this comment? Okay, I'm afraid we lost that. The moment your call is being acknowledged, just go ahead with your contribution. There might be some little feedback delay, but the moment you see your name on the screen, just go ahead with your comments and your contributions. We're talking about where this actually pitches you. Maybe I should restructure that question. Do you have any political sentiment at this time?
You are mixing apples and oranges.
They are both fruits.
Yes, but don't mix them. They are different fruits. The question is that, well, okay, maybe you're not able to read the book.
I'm not yet.
Oh yes, this about the stewardship of Obasanjo from beginning to the end. It's not about any 2015 or anything and the rest. No, it's about the subject of Obasanjo. And go and check me over the years. I've had my views on this subject over the years. And you go back up to 18, 20 years in the public space, you find my views, and they have not changed.
Is it possible that you took advantage of the name and the book My Watch? Because if that book didn't come out, it probably wouldn't have come out with Watching the Watcher.
Yeah, like I told you earlier, you know, I've formed certain impressions based on variable facts about the subject over the years. I remember sitting down with the late Fela Kuti sometimes in 1994, in his house. I engaged for almost 3 hours that day. And I saw Fela wasting away. I went back memory lane. All the things he suffered in the hands of Obasanjo. How, in fact, Obasanjo, the atrocity Obasanjo committed against him, how it forced him to go to a village in Nigeria to go and look for African bulletproof. Because he wanted to go and confront Obasanjo. And I saw how Fela, you know, how his views changed, how he became a recluse, how he was withdrawn from the society on account of the persecution by this same Obasanjo for the truth he spoke. The burnt his house, killed his mother, did all kind of things. And so I look at a person like Awolowo, who's my hero. How this same Obasanjo told the nation in 1979 that the best candidate may not win, and I did not win. And in 2013, when he wrote a letter to President Jonathan, said in that book that he worked for Shagari in 79. So we cannot forget all these things. MQ Abiola, it was on Abiola's blood that Obasanjo stepped into the presidency. That was the red carpet he used. For 8 years, never mentioned Obasanjo. And at the review of the book said that nobody has ever, there's no politicians of note that has not quoted Awolowo on anything. You have never heard Obasanjo mention Awolowo.
Let me just hold you for a moment to take this call from Delta. Good morning, Eja Giveaway. Hope I got that right.
These things we are talking about, Obasanjo has done a great thing in this country. Why we have done a great thing in this country? Many of these PDP, the so-called PDP, most of them, when you look at Obasanjo, there was every corruption was the head in this country. For example, an Inspector General of Police then, he was arrested and detained. And it has never happened like that since this country, the father was proving no governors, like in my local government, the chairman of the local government was petition on the way going to Abuja and what an accident. Like now, everybody is a thief. This governor, House of Assembly members, council of Gidi Hasi, in a moment of time, you can't see all those nonsense. Because this book you have written, people should not criticize it because they have tried. Obasanjo have done his best in this country. If you look at the military era, no one say Nigeria is not the winner. Obasanjo contribute a lot of things. Contribute a lot of things. The man he deserves respect in this country. Not before you just come and start talking rubbish. The man has tried, and the man who has been in prison for the when he has been in prison, Abacha to have killed him, and he came out. Well, I get democracy now. Imagine when he was there. He retired the military men. All of them. Can anybody do so? We are not inclined democracy to them and some useless animals. We are not continuing. Actually, the man has tried to respect him. Thank you. This is my comment.
Well, good to hear from you from Delta. He believes that the former president should be celebrated. I think that you believe otherwise. But let's quickly touch on...
But I think the gentleman who spoke last should learn to be very... to be civilized.
And objective.
No, it's not. I don't mind being subjective. But if you're going to say useless animals, this and the rest, I mean, you those are the kind of people speaking for Obasanjo, you can then know what you're talking about.
Let's touch on some of the issues brought to the fore in Obasanjo's book. I've not had the privilege of reading yours, but I've done some excerpts from Obasanjo's book. On corruption, he talked about the presidency instructing AFCC to remove a vital document in Benga Daniel's file in their custody. He talked about the 2011 elections where Bola Ahmed Tinubu was allegedly called to Abuja from Lagos and saying that all of the money that he got from there must have been from money from government transaction with full corruption. And it seemed to be quite graphical about corruption. But in your opinion, would you say that he had fared better leading Nigeria in the war against corruption in his administration relative to the Jonathan-led administration?
Well, you remember that at the presentation of the book, Chief Ayo Adebanjo did say, and I want Obasanjo to come and contradict that at the time Obasanjo was using EFCC to harass Makedenuga of Glo, the same Obasanjo was extorting money from Makedenuga for his Bay University.
Can you confirm that on this platform?
That's the allegation Chief Adebanjo, he's a 7-year-old man, has put on the table. Let Obasanjo come and deny it. You seem to have forgotten Halliburton. You quickly seem to have forgotten CMS. You have forgotten Transcorp. How Obasanjo so-called true blind trust, but Steve Nigeria his assets, took over Transcorp. Ganifa went to court in one day. Obasanjo allocated 4 oil blocks to Transcorp, a company which has substantial interest. Obasanjo, by his own account, came out of prison with 20,000 naira. How did he come by the Presidential Library, the 5-star hotel? He has built in Abeokuta now. The transformation of his farms, his university, being one of the richest men in Africa today. You don't ask questions. And so this kind of man now begin to tell you, to lecture you about corruption. He's like a serial rapist who's in the acts, being your guest lecturer on the subject of rape, telling you about the evils of rape. When every minute he rapes anything that is in skirts.
Okay, in your own opinion, I would also love to know how you perceive Obasanjo's led administration. Of course, he was there for 8 years, but let's try to compare it with the Jonathan-led administration. How would you perceive his administration in this light?
Well, for me, when you look at the Obasanjo administration, the 8 years of Obasanjo witnessed so many unpardonable things in the history of this country. For instance, when you look at the level of political assassinations under Obasanjo, his own Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Bolage, was murdered in his bedroom. Obasanjo came on national television to tell us that it was on drug baron who killed Bolage. Did you apprehend that drug baron?
Let me hold you for a minute to take this call from Kaduna. Good morning, Humera.
Okay.
Please go ahead with the contribution.
My name is Umera, and I'm very much interested in the topic at stake. The gentleman there with you has spoken the mind of most of Nigerians. So, and including my own opinion about Obasanjo. Obasanjo drove so many people out of job, drove people out of job, and he didn't fight corruption the way corruption should be fought. Everybody knows that, whereby he's giving some people parole. Somebody who stole about billions or 3 billion, he has the person to pay 2 million or whatever, and then the person goes away with his loot. I don't see anything good in Obasanjo that the last speaker, was hailing him. I think he's one of the beneficiaries of his government. Hence, he was praising him that he has done good. We are in Nigeria, and we have seen his antecedents. It is not somebody that somebody will be proud of as the head of state of this country at a particular time, because he's not worthy of it. It's not worthy of it. And for him to criticize the incumbent president is careful, because such a man supposed to be in advisory capacity in this country. He should respect himself. His daughter has told us very much about him. And I don't know why anybody should praise him for anything, because somebody cannot even manage his own family. He came to manage Nigeria, and he mismanaged Nigeria. I know how many people who are suffering now. The people he laid off from service, from the federal civil service, they are all suffering now. And nobody, no remedy from any corner. Some of them have not been paid their entitlement, especially the restraint staff of Kaduna Polytechnic, the people here from Kaduna Polytechnic, over 1,000 of them. They are all suffering now. Even their entitlement, their pension they are not even the accurate pension. They are being paid a nigger payment as their entitlement. How can somebody retire in 2008? You suggest somebody in 2008, and the person is getting the entitlement based on 2006 salary structure. Is it done anywhere in the world? And the person. So let people not be talking about, but Obasanjo is not an issue in this country because it should be forgotten. Even I would have liked him to go and lavish in jail, because he has made some utterances that are prejudicial to the progress of this country. Thank you.
Your contribution, Umera, calling in from Kaduna. And we also have the Twitter and on the screen, just as we have the phone lines as well. You were talking about the Obasanjo administration.
Yes. So many, from Bolagi to Mashahari to Dikibo to this to the rest, so many high-profile political assassinations on Obasanjo, which to date, not one person was brought to book under him. And so, look at the massacres in Udi, in Zakibiam, a civilian president, ordering people to be killed, to be murdered, just like that. Then, if you talk about corruption, yes, in his book, he talk was eloquently about corruption. Under Obasanjo, Nigeria was voted the most corrupt country in the world, #1, by Transparency International. But Obasanjo was country director of Transparency International, became president. You see what? So, but I don't know how Obasanjo has bewitched some Nigerians who cannot clearly see that this man is not. Yes, there are problems, that there are challenges outside today, and Nigeria should speak about it. But Obasanjo should not use whatever we are facing to launder his image.
You know, exactly what came to my mind is where, if you have all of these things against him, where does he get that cloud, that halo from? The picture on set earlier showed some 5 PDP governors that went to see him as regards 2015 election. His house has been a beehive of activity. He's been referred to as a national figure, a fatherly figure to the Nigerian nation. PDP has gone there. The APC chieftains have been to his utter household house, and well, it looks as if every other person apart from you sees him as that figure, that elderly figure in Nigeria. How do you think he was able to get to this status with all of these controversies against him?
It shows all that's wrong with this country.
Just before you answer that, let's take this call from Niger. Good morning, Salisu.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead with the contribution.
My name is Salisu. I'm calling from Niger State.
Okay.
I think President Obasanjo, I think his age is a great man. If you want to respect, no matter what you have even said in public. And we are now, me that I'm talking to you now, I'm just 20 years of age. And without his, I will never know what is happening in Nigeria. But in Nigeria today, when person come out, a leader come out to say the truth or the fact about what is happening, about the government, about his own past, is that a crime? When person talk what is wrong in the government, they say they should go and arrest the person. What Obasanjo indicates in that book is a reality. You said, gentlemen, that you say that Obasanjo build something, Obasanjo is corrupt. I want to put it to you. If our leader can imitate Obasanjo by stealing money and invest in our country today, I think me and you will be living on the street. So for you to condemn Obasanjo stealing money, build this, build, if you do that, I'm very happy. But to take it to abroad and invest, come to look at Obasanjo government. Obasanjo government make a...
And we'll be back with more as regards the book, My Watch, the issues and the controversies. Don't go away.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
Thanks for staying with us on Cool Digest Wednesday. In case you just joined us, I'm joined by Yinka Odumakin, author of Watch the Watcher. Of course, a reaction to former President Obasanjo's book that was launched on the 9th of this month, My Watch. And he's been giving us his view as regards his administration and trying to ensure that the elder statesman does not rewrite the history of Nigeria. We've had a couple of calls thus far from Asaba, Kaduna, Niger. We'll encourage more calls. If you can reach us, the phone lines are showing on your screen. Ensure that you turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can do without the feedback distortion. The Twitter handle is also there at Cold Digest Live, where you can join the conversation. We were talking about how Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was able to attain this status of a father, irrespective of all of the myriad issues that you've been able to point out thus far.
Yes, because that shows you what is wrong with Nigeria. A country where it's possible. You know, I mean, look at your political space today. Who are the men? How many worthy men do you have in the public space? That is the character of the Nigerian states.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut you again. Let's just take this call quickly from Abia. Good morning, Henry.
Okay. But they're still talking.
No, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Good morning. I'm calling from Abia State. I'm Henry.
Okay.
Yes, the gentleman on stage, he is a true patriot of the nation. He is the type of man that Nigeria needs to move forward. Every man that is a right-thinking man ought to say the truth. President Jonathan Goodluck has a good will. It was confirmed by even the Babangida. He visited, I think, in a week now, said that Jonathan has a good mind to the nation. Obasanjo, the watch or whatever, to condemn President Jonathan Goodluck is totally wrong. Look at the USA. The past president have never condemned the current president. Look at his age. Obasanjo is leading the Nigeria. Do you think that he will lead the nation in not a farm? It cannot to be happen. So I am praising the man on stage. He will live long for saying the truth. And he is going to work for the good nation. He's not going to stop here. Sir, please go on. Go on with this good speech. Obasanjo and whatever cannot do this nation. We must stand for the truth and move the country forward. Jonathan must lead the nation to the rightful path. Thank you, sir.
Well, good to hear from you. Thank you very much for your contribution. We were talking about...
Yes, I'll say that before Henry came in, that you've forgotten that in this country, one day, a senator got up in the National Assembly and said, Mr. Senate President, this chamber is filled with criminals. But when they come out, you say, distinguished senator. So that's the pride of Nigeria, that we celebrate unworthy men in our public space. And even the worthy men don't even have the space. So it's not it couldn't be otherwise, because Nigeria itself is a nation that's built on the foundation of lies, of iniquity, of injustice. So that is, I mean, like, if you read this book, in the letter to our father last year, Yinka Odumakin just said that he told his father that your madness is part of his larger society madness. That's only a society like Nigeria that will celebrate you. And so that's what from his own daughter.
You're saying that if he doesn't have that much praise coming from within his family, then he probably shouldn't get it on a national platform.
Yeah, now you see, now when you read this book now, his wife said it's not good. His daughter says he's a bad man. The daughter says he's useless. So it's only the people like the guy that come from Delta who are saying he's a good man.
Let's quickly touch on his point of view also on security, and especially in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. He says, and I quote, that, let me see if I can find that very quickly. I was in Sierra Leone on the day Boko Haram bombed the UN building in Abuja. As soon as I returned to Nigeria, I called the Inspector General of Police to hear his views. I wasn't impressed. I also talked to the then National Security Advisor, and his explanation was substantially blank. I went to Jonathan, the president, on the same issue. His reaction and his view that Boko Haram were a bunch of riffraffs left me even colder. And it goes ahead to say that the one incident that overtly and graphically exposed the ineptitude, ineffectiveness, inefficiency, carelessness, the adjectives goes on, was the unselfishness of Goodluck Jonathan, was the abduction of about 276 schoolgirls from Chibok in Borno State by Boko Haram. Don't you think that most Nigerians also share this view?
Well, as we are concerned about the state of insecurity.
Just before you answer that, let's go to Oshun to take Adeni's call. Good morning, Adeni.
Okay. Now, I want to say something pertaining to what we are discussing. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, morning. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to say something on what we are discussing. Last time when our president, Goodluck Jonathan, came here in Oshun, he said something during the campaign for their gubernatorial candidate, which is Senator Mishori. He said, when we voted for Mishori, we never lack allocation is common equity. Now, the fact that Mishori is nowhere to come on this government, we have voted for Adegbeshola. Now, they have been delaying our allocation, and this allocation has been deducted. And all these harassments we are facing here in the state. So, for you to be, praising Jonathan, when compared to that.
Did we lose that?
Hello.
I'm afraid you have to call back, Adeniyi.
No.
Oh, is it still there?
Thank
Thank you very much for your contribution. Just before you answer that, let me quickly add this so that you can add it to your reaction.
Yeah, yes.
The reaction and attitude of our president and his household was non-belief, to the extent that 18 days passed before he grudgingly conceded to accept the reality of the abduction. If Sarah's action had been taken within 48 hours, the story could have been different. Do you think that Nigerians in any way think otherwise to what the former president has written here?
Yeah, these are symptoms. But General Obasanjo laid the foundation for the disease. When the Boko Haram was going to gestate, when they started it with Sharia in 2000, when Yerima and the rest of them started introducing Sharia in 12 states, Obasanjo owed it a duty as somebody who swore to defend the constitution of Nigeria, to advise the Attorney General to go to court and stop this madness. What did he do? He said it's a political thing. It will go away, protecting himself. Now, what you call Boko Haram today has its origin in that upsurge of Sharia movement in those 12 states in the north in 2000. For 8 years, Obasanjo did nothing about it. Like I said, you see, the affliction for Obasanjo is that he knows all the right things to do when he's not in office. But when he's in office, he forgets all those virtues. His virtues only resurrects when he's not in charge. So he cannot extricate himself from the Boko Haram crisis for insurgency we are facing today, because he had the opportunity to nip this thing in the bud, but he did not, because he wanted his 8 years, he wanted a third term, and he thought he could look the other way. Now the thing is catching up with us. He now begins to want to use it to launder his image, to do anything else. Yes, we are facing serious challenges about insecurity, and the government should sit up and see to it that Nigerians are secured.
But you believe that the alleged mistakes of the Obasanjo administration is not an excuse for the Jonathan-led administration?
Nobody says an excuse, but Obasanjo, I'm saying Obasanjo cannot now be using that now to whitewash. That's the basic thing. Nigerians are saying this thing. Many Nigerians have said this thing. Nobody have taken issue with them, but not Obasanjo. He has no mouth in this matter. He should keep short. It's not him. Nigerians should be discussing these issues. They must put their leaders, hold them accountable.
But isn't this what we've been asking for, especially activists like you, talking about making people in government accountable? For the first time, we are seeing two major stakeholders within the same party not agreeing with each other. President Olusegun Obasanjo, as of today, is still a card-carrying member. As a matter of fact, a leader in the People's Democratic Party. And he seems to have opposing views to the incumbent president. Isn't this what someone like you have fought for?
No. I didn't fight for that. I didn't fight for Obasanjo to go and be grandstanding. Look, many of you don't know Obasanjo. Like the guy who called from Nigeria at that time, he says 20 years old. He can be excused. Look at the history of this man. When he handed over to Shagari, the moment he began to lose relevance, he started...
Please let me hold you for a minute to take Ogbeifon's call from Benin. It's been a long time, Ogbeifon. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, yeah, my name is Ogbeifon, and I'm calling you from Benin.
Okay.
You see, there is something I really want to say here. That in this part of the country, it is not proper for one to have a kind of a change of heart. your heart. If you felt that you are a killer before and you want to repent, they still see you to be a killer. Some people still see you to be a killer. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because of the gentleman there with you. You see, we respect Obasanjo so much. I so respect him, not because I will say maybe because he's an old man or no. He just said concerning this issue, the democracy we are in this country today, and of which nobody in the cabinet of this so-called present administration will ever say it. It's not possible. Now, this man that is saying all this our father, Obasanjo, my father, by the grace of God, I will say it, and I'm proud of him. Now, that man, the man that brings in this government to play, and if this man can stand to say today that this is what is going on, is this man there telling us that this man, Mr. Obasanjo, is lying? This man should watch very well. Even this book is holding there. I will also write that we should watch him. Because himself is not sincere. He is never in this cabinet. And I don't see you asking several questions. He tries to defend it and take the blame to Obasanjo. And now this is the man that is writing what kind of rubbish are in your book. If you can defend Jonathan, they are asking you questions concerning Boko Haram, you are bringing Sharia. Now you that is bringing Sharia to it, that Obasanjo is the one that masterminded Boko Haram. Don't you also think supposed to continue and level Boko Haram by now? If not, when the next man comes, he will still stand on the issue of this so-called Jonathan, the present president now. I still work according to your speech now, sir. So please, sir, you people are the ones telling Jonathan. We know you all. I know you so well. We all know you. We know many of you that are telling Jonathan is a nice man. But you people that are working with him, you all are chameleon. You try to destroy that man. Only God will save us in this country.
It's all right, Ogbefun. Thank you very much for your contribution. It looks as if somebody's going to start watching you now.
Well, you said, Ogbefun, I just have a word from him.
Okay.
From Yabo Obasanjo. Yabo, in his letter to his father, said, like you and your minions, it's a symbiotic relationship. Nigeria has descended into a hellish reality where smart, happy people to survive and have their daily bread butter prostrate to imbeciles. This is what Yabo Obasanjo wrote. And you can see from the comments of Ogbefun, you know that Yabo knows what she's talking about.
It's all right. Let's also, as we begin to round all of this up now, because I quickly want also to take you up on some national issues. In your opinion, do you see the former president impact anyway on the results of the much talked about 2015 general elections? Because from all that we have seen thus far, it looks as if he's not going to be supporting the incumbent president in 2015.
I don't care what Obasanjo support. Like I told you, this is not about 2015 about anything. It's about the fact that it will take a nation of imbeciles not to know where we are coming from, to begin to celebrate a fox as a hero, to begin to take a man who has taken this country like years back, who now comes on stage to be grandstanding and playing politics, swinging from side to side and rocking as if we never knew where it's coming from. About whoever you like, I don't care about who is supporting or who does not support, but they already know the fact is that his value is no more than a nuisance. As president of Nigeria, Obasanjo lost his polling unit. Between 1999 and 2007, up to 2011, Obasanjo has now won an election in his own ward. In fact, if you look at it, in 2007, they had to cancel the results as president of Nigeria. They had to cancel the result in his ward because he lost woefully.
But so, he has won elections in Nigeria. Probably he has much more impact outside his own town. Isn't that a possibility too?
But if in 1999, 2003, 2007, 2011, He lost his word. That shows you, but within you know, the larger political space of Nigeria, with all its contradictions, with all its data, yes, he has his nuisance value within all that. But like I said, the major thrust of this is about the fact that we need to remember our history, to know our history.
Okay.
Everything here is about history. So they are not opinion.
Let's take this call from Sokoto. Good morning, Taufik. Taufik, are you there?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please, my contribution towards the program. Okay, please, concerning the comment of Mr. Odumakin, to me personally, the man is saying something entirely. And I can't say precisely, maybe the man cannot understand the kind of politics here we are in Nigeria, especially the issue of insecurity. Boko Haram, telling people that Boko Haram started when Obasanjo was in regime. He's talking something out of his sense. That is my own belief. And secondly, please, Mr. President, the incumbent president now, can he pray to God that how did man run the situation, the affairs of Nigeria, may God so run his own personal life like that? Please, we are talking about correction. If Mr. Obasanjo is saying something, he himself is not doing it. That does not mean that the man is saying is a perfect person. We are all contributing towards correction and towards making a better tomorrow of our great country. Please, we should stop abusing a leader without thinking deeply, without having a foresight concerning the current situation. This is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution from Sokoto. You also made mention.
But he's talking also of ignorance. When the current Boko Haram, when did it start? It started in 2002. The Sharia movement started in 2000. And anybody that cannot see the link between the Sharia movements of 2000 and the sprouting of Boko Haram in 2002 is either being dishonest, like Obasanjo, or the son was talking about.
It's all right. We'll get there. But you also made mention in your opening remarks that Obasanjo had locked you up for about 6 or 7 days.
6 days.
Would you not say that this, your book, is in reaction to the wrong that he has done to you in the past?
No, that was in 2005. This 2014. And it's not only that he not only did it to me, he did it to many people. I remember that under Obasanjo, I had to go and visit Ghana Dams in Gashua prison. In Kuje prison in Abuja, where I was locked up by Obasanjo for months. Dr. Freddy Fassin was locked up. So many people are locked up under Obasanjo for their beliefs. And I mentioned that in the introduction chapter of this book, but that was not necessarily the motivation for writing this book. It's about the fact that some people just have to stand up and let Nigerians know to rev us back, because at that time we forget, we remember so little, we forget so easily. And that's why these men will continue to take us for a ride, because they know that once they finish with us, in the next few months, we begin to hate them. And some of us have been around for a long time, that we owe it a duty to say the truth, no matter whose us is God. Like I said earlier on now, those who are there now should take a lesson from what's happening to Obasanjo now. Now when they to leave, people will write about them, and therefore they do the right thing. They want history to be kind to them.
Thompson is calling from Lokoja. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Are you there? Good morning. Are you
yes, we're here. Go ahead with the contribution.
Yes, the man who is speaking there should learn how to respect somebody who has served this country, who has served the country, who has dedicated his time, his lifetime for the country. I cannot just come out, on a live TV to begin to insult any president who have served this country. The man, I can see he's just being busy for nothing's sake. Because unlike his wife criticized, but he criticized positively. And I like her for that. But this Maritime TV is always about Obasanjo. So I don't know what Obasanjo has done to the. You should ask him what Obasanjo has done to him. That is the question I want you to ask him, Mr. Odumakin, who is there. What Obasanjo has done to, because I have watched him severally. I watched him this morning on, is it NTA? Is it NTA? Yeah. And some other this thing. And he talked too much about Obasanjo. This communication, the one I'm even talking to you with now, it is still Obasanjo who have perfected the arrangement for us to be talking like this. And so many things he has done, which I don't want to even sit down to mention. Our current president is doing very well. I don't want to go to that area. So, but this particular man who is there, Mr. Odumakin, anytime he comes to the air, it's about Obasanjo. Did he want to be known? If you want to be known, why not look for something else to talk about?
It's all right.
Well,
I'm sure you want to respond to that.
Yeah, of course. Because I think Thompson does not know who he's even talking about. It's not about what Obasanjo has done to me, and I think that's very, very parochial to reduce to what has done to me. So what has done to this nation? So what has it done to the people of this country? It's not, read this book. It's not only about me. When a man, his wife has spoken here, his son has spoken here, his daughter has spoken here, it's about what has done to this country. And his minions are free to have their own opinion. Let Thompson go and write his own book. But it cannot stop me from holding my views about a man who has done so much evil to this country. And we have to set the record straight.
Before
no apology about that.
Before we let you go, Mr. Yinka Odumakin, you were one of the delegates at the National Confab earlier this year. The questions arrive. What has been done by the presidency as regards implementing those resolutions?
Those 600 resolutions we have passed at the National Conference, those are the key to the survival of this country. And if we don't implement that report, look, all this thing they're talking about the elections is taking us nowhere. They can make all the promises. Politicians on both sides of the divide, they are mostly about their own interest. This country is dying. We are at the edge of the precipice. Most of the countries that were put together by the British, the way they put together Nigeria, they've either disintegrated, they are in armed conflict or under intense strains. And Nigeria today, when you look at it, is at the edge of that precipice. To take Nigeria back, the only thing we need to do is to implement the report of that conference. And I said as well, if you had a patriotic political class, what you haven't done before going for an election is to implement those reports. Have a brand new constitution before the first election.
But there's an ongoing constitutional amendment at the floor.
Forget that one.
What chances does the National Confab has as regards what's going on at the National Assembly?
Forget National Assembly. National Assembly, they cannot give us a new constitution.
Okay.
They are lawmakers. They are not the ones to constitute us. All they are doing is shambolic. What we need, go and read those reports. The future of Nigeria is in those reports. And we must implement them.
Let me take your last call from Lekki. Shola, are you there?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm really amazed. People calling to praise us. I'm really amazed. What is wrong with we Nigerians? We've just forgotten a couple of years ago what Obasanjo did to Nigerians. I wonder why Nigerians just forget because of politics, because they are being paid to come out. All this because they are against the present government. So they can support even a devil, you know. Obasanjo, I think what Obasanjo did to Nigerians. Can you imagine this gentleman there is saying the truth? But some people rather come on, they call in to blame the man. The man has never been in any position of government in this country. It's not even our problem. The real problem we have is Obasanjo. If Obasanjo continues to behave the way he's behaving right now, carry on. If people are calling, they say you should respect Obasanjo. In America, Americans will come out and criticize Obama. In the UK, they will criticize their government, and they are passed as present government. So criticizing Obasanjo does not arise to anything. And Obasanjo deserves to be criticized because was the same Obasanjo who went and bombed OG, bombed so many places, killed so many people. This time, recently, have you ever heard any assassinations or anything? People are free to make their comments. Nobody is being attacked. Please, Nigerians, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. It is unfortunate that we quickly forget because, suddenly now Obasanjo is the same. It's the same. In short, it's a pity for Nigerians. Thank you very much.
Good to hear from you. Shola calling from Lekki. Just 30 seconds. What are your final comments on this?
Well, my final comment is very clear. For those of us who are not blinded by politics, people out of desperation want to canonize Obasanjo. Those who went, I mean, for years, Obasanjo seized local government funds in this legal state because he created council. The same Obasanjo who told us in 2003 at a very meeting that he himself disagreed on why Kano should have 44 local governments and Lagos should have 20. But because of desperation of power today, the same Obasanjo is their navigator. They went to him and crammed their navigator. And then, so they are free to do that. But for those of us who know the truth, we should not shy away from saying it, that look, yes, this is who Obasanjo is. And that when Obasanjo does, anything Obasanjo does is for himself. If he has relevance today in Nigeria, he will not be talking. And if in there, we are at the book launch, you have heard Condemnable Fadile. He came to say openly that this man, myself and him and other people and Connect, we sat down, we agreed to remove Abacha and put Obasanjo to head into any government. And when the thing became Ori, himself, Yar'Adua and Beko agreed that he should do a letter to say, okay, they implicated him. Now Obasanjo is now holding on to that as the truth when he knows the truth. So a man cannot just allow a man to be getting those kind of lies.
Yinka Odumakin, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I hope to get a copy of your book subsequently so we can also devolve that. A big thank you to everyone. 2014 has been a great year. Mr. Producer, let's run through the highlight together. I believe on Monday we kick-started looking at the political events that marked and shaped the country in 2014, from the drama and all of that at the floor of the National Assembly. Many have said these two men are the greatest beneficiary of all the political events that happened in 2014 as a pre-election year. So February 2015, it's going to be an outright battle between the incumbent president, Goodluck Jonathan, and the general who once ruled Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. It seems to be gathering lots of support. Just came into Twitter one day and you do not want to know, thousands of followers already. Some are saying this is the third time thereabout, third or fourth, whichever, but that this might also be his last chance of trying. Fourth time, okay, at 72. Muhammadu Buhari will be slugging it out again with the incumbent president come February 2014. Yesterday, we touched on security. Amazing what the timeline is. And the heroes of this year have been the over 200 Chibok girls that were kidnapped in Borno State. It's 260 days after their abduction. No word on them yet. Once upon a time, the Nigerian army says we know where they are, but we cannot go fetch them out. We've been hearing lots of alleged suicide bombers being young girls. One of them we interviewed earlier in the course of the show this year. It's so amazing. Well, a big thank you to the Bring Back Our Girls movement. We hope they can do more as we keep hope alive against all hopes. Today we touch on health and the hero, or perhaps the heroine that fought the Ebola virus to an end is the woman on your screen, Dr. Stella Adadevo, who physically combated the Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer for not allowing him to travel to Calabar for the ECOWAS meeting. It's been a great year. Thank you guys for watching. A big thank you to Emmanuel Ajayi, the producer. A big thank you to the people in the master control room. A big thank you to everyone at the Core TV News. We hope to do more of this subsequently in the new year. Don't forget that we'd love to get all your comments, your inquiries and contribution. It's Trend live on our Twitter handle at Core Digest Live. We'd love to hear from you what your perception of the show has been, what you think we can do better in the new year. And don't forget, if you missed out this today's edition, you can watch it again on YouTube. All you need to do is go to www.youtube.com/Core TV, Core TV, leave a space, and news. And of course, you can also follow through all the codes from Yinka Odumakin on our Twitter handle at Core Digest Live. I am Nifemi Ogunto. The next time you'll be watching Core Digest, it'll be a new year, and I'm hopeful that you'll be there. Thank you for watching.
Nigerians are expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity.
The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News, a 24-hour news station.